Britain's new empire in North America was an outlet for surplus population. This limited poverty in England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland due to the migration of the poor in search of opportunities in the New World. These new settlers had privileged access to virtually free and unlimited land.
White settlers came to the colonies and worked as indentured servants for 7 years. After those 7 years, they would gain personal freedom and their own farms, where they could produce goods for themselves.
Cheap land and tremendous demand for scarce labor power were also critical for the growth of slavery. The Spanish and the Portuguese had introduced slavery into the Americas in the 16th century. The slaves, mostly coming from Africa due to the poor survival rate of Native American slaves, worked on sugar plantations that earned large profits for plantation owners and European trade. As England adopted mercantilist policies after 1650, investors established sugar plantations in the Caribbean and brought slaves to work on them. The white settlers who had previously populated the island and grew tobacco generally left for the mainland colonies. Black slaves then became the majority of the population in Britain's Caribbean colonies.
The exploitation of slave labor greatly increased tobacco production between 1700 and 1774. This created a new wealthy aristocratic planter class in Maryland and Virginia, where large plantations were worked entirely by black slaves. Slavery was uncommon in New England and the Middle Colonies. The white colonists in these areas began to export grain and dried fish, primarily to the West Indies, where sugar plantation owners relied on the mainland colonies in order to feed their slaves.
The abundance of free land resulted in a rapid increase in colonial population as immigrants arrived and colonial couples raised large families. This agricultural development resulted in fairly high standards of living. White men and women in mainland British colonies had the highest average income and standard of living in the world.